ladies and gentlemen, we got her.
We got her.
We got her.
It's exciting.
The 71-year-old praying grandmother is going down. Lock her up. Thank the Lord for Joe Biden's DOJ and Merrick Garland for tracking down this dangerous criminal. Now, I know there's a bunch of criminal aliens that are, that are rapists and murderers, and, people like Laker Riley get murdered and stuff. But this praying grandma, I don't know. What's she praying about? What was she asking for, huh?
I just want to know the bill that it took to bring her in. Like, how many tax dollars did they spend on this one investigation?
No, I figured it out. She said she was praying for her country. You know what that means? She was praying that Biden would lose. And that means Biden has to arrest her because those prayers are dangerous.
It's treason.
She was going to manifest a Trump 2024 victory.
Who set the pipe bomb at the RNC? Do they know? Has the FBI solved that one for us yet?
That's not important. You are losing perspective on how we keep this country safe.
You know what was crazy?
Here, let me read the story here from the Post.
That was sarcasm.
It's from the Post Millennial.
All right.
Colorado.
Have you heard of it?
Colorado praying grandma who walked in Capitol on J6 found guilty by D.C. jury. On Thursday afternoon, a Colorado grandmother who briefly entered the Capitol building on January 6th after praying on the grounds of the group for over an hour was found guilty of 4 misdemeanor charges. Multiple sources close to the case confirmed to the Post Millennial that she had been found guilty this afternoon. She could be sentenced to a year in prison and fines exceeding $200,000. This little old lady, dude, I've heard stories. I've told this story before. When I was growing up, an old man ran over a teenage girl and smashed her skull. And the penalty was you lose your license. And this lady walked in a building for a few minutes. She's a threat to no one.
Misdemeanors now send you to jail?
That's the crazy thing.
Well, yeah.
Misdemeanors always could. Misdemeanors are usually, I can't speak for other states. In Illinois, a misdemeanor is anything less than a year. And prison and felonies are anything a year or more. So, yes, you commit a misdemeanor, you can get, 6 months or something. But what is the purpose of imprisonment? Is this lady a threat to anyone? Is she going to stage a revolution? Will she be a soldier in Trump's army? The answer to those questions, no. Yeah. She's going to go home, sit in her little rocking chair, and she's going to pray.
Well, she has a bed and breakfast in Colorado Springs. And what was interesting when I was reading her account and reading the accounts of when she was, when the FBI showed up, she was literally baking a cake for her son's birthday and asked them to come back another day. And they did, because that's how threatening she is. Wow. That's how threatening this little old lady is.
They saw her holding that knife or cutting the cake, and she was like, could you come back? And they're like, oh, please. And they ran away.
She's going to pray at us. Let's get out of here.
The feds ran off terrified.
It'd be embarrassing to be the FBI agent who brought her down. It'd be embarrassing to be the juror who was like, you know what? I think she better go to jail.
Well, this was like a 26-hour deliberation because it looks like there was one juror at least who was just like, no, we can't do it. And eventually that juror was swayed. It took they started deliberations on Monday and they finished yesterday.
Shout out to that juror wasn't swayed. Out for a while.
They weren't swayed. They were blackmailed. They
were browbeaten by 11 other Washingtonians. We want to go home. Yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't get me to be able to change that. I'm just a little too obstinate.
I would put my feet up on the table, lean back, and be like, nope. You want to go home, you change your vote.
I was in D.C. for almost 20 years, and I got jury duty every year, and I was kicked out within 4 seconds of D.C. jury duty. They never wanted me to serve on a jury, but these are the people exactly who they want.
I've tried, I've been called into jury duty a lot in New York City where I used to live, and I never get picked either. No. Never. And I'm always like, pick me. And they're like, no.
You're like, too eager, get out of here.
Exactly.
Police in the criminal justice system. Leave.
It's because everybody wants stupid people.
Yeah, they just want idiots. And I'd be like, my parents were attorneys.
Yeah. They're like not valuable enough. No. Please see yourself out.
Would they give you reasons or just say, jury, you're dismissed or something?
No, they'd just be like, you're dismissed. They'd talk to me for a minute. You're dismissed.
Yeah.
What would they ask you?
Over and over again. It would just be stuff about the case. Like, have you ever had experience with domestic violence or whatever else?
Do you have a family member who is in law enforcement? And I do. So that always got me kicked off.
You just yell when they say, have you ever had an encounter with the police over related to drugs or anything? Just be like, no, but he's guilty. He's guilty and I know it. Can I go home now?
Well, with the January 6th
I never want to go home. I would love to serve on a jury. I think it would be so fascinating. Yeah. I think they intentionally don't want people who are interested in the process.
Yeah. You have to be frustrated and want to go. That's because this thing, I would love to be on a jury, but I definitely am able to acknowledge that like any of the January 6th cases, it would be very difficult to convince me that the charges that they that they were definitely being tried for are accurate to the situation.
That's what was so interesting about this, because I was reading the statement of facts that the FBI provided, and it has all this information about what she did, including that Lorenz stated that she spent approximately 10 minutes inside the Capitol and described her path as roaming from the East Center entrance to the rotunda and back, exiting through the same door that she entered.
She walked in a circle?
Yeah. She gave the FBI agents photos, including a photo of her talking to a Capitol police officer who sort of leans forward to try and hear her over the crowd. Because she's so dangerous that he's like leaning forward to her. And it said, based on the foregoing, there is probable cause to believe that Lorenz violated, knowingly enter or remain in any restricted building or grounds. Also probable cause to believe that she willfully and knowingly uttered loud, threatening or abusive language or engaged in a disorderly conduct. And she didn't do any of those things. She prayed. She went in for 10 minutes. She wandered around. She talked to a cop and she left.
She talked to a cop so quietly, he had to lean in.
He had to lean in. If you look at the picture, he's just like.
The best part is, like, if you walked up to a cop and said, "Are we allowed to be here?" and you went, "No," I'm like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I'm leaving."
And they would have left.
They'd still charge you.
Yeah. They charge people who are on the grounds.
They charge people who went to the cops and
doors.
said, "Hey, do you need any help? Can I help you with something?" And the cops said, "We got to get these people out of here." And they went, "Let's get these people out of here. We'll help." They charged those guys.
Yeah.
And this is going to be a huge problem for the election because the thousands of FBI agents who are involved in this know that if Trump were to win and all the J6 people get blanket pardon, which I do think they would, I do think he would change the FBI to say, let's start investigating the folks who led this charge. And if you're a 48-year-old guy in the FBI and you've got 25 years under your belt and you're heading up this task force, you're not going to go down with President Trump or his new FBI head, who I pray is Rand Paul. I've tweeted it many times. I would love to have Rand Paul be the Senate. Oh, yeah.
But this is why.
But how great would it be if he
the names
headed
of
up
the
this
FBI agents are all redacted.
Exactly. And that's why these guys know.
And this is why Trump can't win.
This is why they have to stop him from winning.
This is why there have been people like Cernovich saying
way too many people.
They cannot let Trump win under no circumstance because there are going to be people in the federal government with weapons who are sitting there thinking, well, if Trump wins, I go to prison for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Or worse. So what does that mean?
Yeah. So they that's why this next couple of months are going to be absolutely insane. We were joking how today was kind of like, wow, it was actually kind of a normal news day. I think that's coming to an end.
Well, the eclipse
because of that
is on Monday, and that's it. That's when the end begins.
I hope so. I'm tired. I'm ready. If it's a meteor, just take me. Just take me.
I've been dealing with these baby lambs, the sheep. I'm just so exhausted.
Yeah. If the meteor doesn't take me, the DOJ will.
I do think it's funny that everyone cares so much about this eclipse. It's just silly. Because we had an eclipse recently,
We've had eclipses. I saw an eclipse a couple years ago, whenever it was, and I built this I built like a big cardboard box thing so we could look through it and watch the eclipse.
They're just trying to normalize eclipses. So when it gets
when
really
they block out the sun, so when Bill Gates block out the sun,
when he blocks out the sun, you'll be like, this happens all the time.
Or the electric grid finally fails completely and we're all in darkness. So just pretend it's an eclipse.
But then we wouldn't be able to talk about it anyway because social media would be down.
I will say this. The last total eclipse was August 2017 and the last eclipse before that was 1979.
Why are they getting why are they getting closer together? What's happening? I don't understand.
Total solar eclipse. I guess because it's the October was an annular eclipse. And then this is a total eclipse. Cool.
August 2017. That's when I built my little box.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
I watched it at the beach.
That's when Trump was on the balcony, right? And they were like, "Mr. President, you should have glasses." And he's like, "I'm good.
I'm just gonna look at it myself."
Yeah, I'm good. Which is great. Okay. And is he blind? They were like, "He's gonna go blind."
And
is he blind?
It's totally fine to look at an eclipse the way Trump did. I don't recommend it, but Trump looked up and then looked down. Yeah, that's not the issue. The issue is that people stare at it for a long period of time. Because they don't understand that it's frying their eyes. You can look at the sun. It just, you don't stare at it. You look up and go, oh, it's bright. Yeah. So Trump looks up and goes, oh, yeah, wow, look at that. And everyone's like, haha, he's an idiot. He looked at the eclipse. I was shocked. These people are morons.
Look, the eclipse couldn't take Trump down. I think that's great. What good marketing.
Right. He does that, then he takes a bite out of his Big Mac.
But the people in the eclipse zone, though, this one coming, which is kind of like Houston, all across Arkansas, all the way up to Buffalo, New York, they're going insane with school closures and businesses are getting shut down.
Good.
Doesn't it last all of about like 38 seconds or a minute and a half, right? It's not.
And all these states are like, it's a state of emergency.
Okay, state of emergency is too far. But let things be fun, like have the kids learn about Eclipse Day at school and not go like, life is
like
so
this,
hard.
eclipse.
Just let us celebrate the eclipse. Don't panic. Let your children learn about science. I don't know. There's a level where like, yes, it's not that big a deal. On the other hand, for some kids, they're like, oh yeah, I remember this day. It's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
I don't want to be too negative about it. But maybe don't let them stare into the sun.
Don't stare into the sun.
Okay, so I'm reading about the difference between annular and total. In October, we had an annular eclipse, and that's when the moon is further away from the Earth. So you don't actually get darkness, you get a negative shadow, they call it. So things get dim, and you see the ring of the sun. With a total eclipse, that's when it's total darkness. So that I guess it'll get real dark. That'll be fun. And it's dark for 3 minutes, but it's a 2-hour period. It's a 2-hour process. So where we are, we have up to upwards of 90%. So if you're in like Ohio, that's where it's totality. But where we are, it's going to be dark, and there's going to be a thin sliver that you'll be able to see.
Oh, yeah?
And what happens during a total eclipse of the heart? Is that similar?
Oh, it's a great
I have
song.
no idea what that means.
It is so stuck in my head, and it has been since the beginning of this conversation.
We were all
great
thinking
song.
about it,
Singing it
except
right
for maybe
here.
Especially the Dan
I was not
Dan's
thinking about it.
remake is great
I know.
too.
Look,
So
I'm not big on the pop culture references.
So we can see it from where we are on when is this happening? Wednesday?
No, Monday.
Monday. What
Yeah.
time?
At 2:03 p.m. until
Eastern?
yes. Well, we're in
guess-
Eastern time, so
I guess we should
I
go
know,
outside
but like
and take a
at
look.
Post Millennial, I have people from Vancouver to.
they're not.
so
They
I'm
can't see it at all.
I know. I'm just used to like I just keep
Libby's just
saying it.
bragging about her international
No,
staff.
it's
You can
just I'm
call
just
the
used to
Vancouver
saying
people
it.
and describe it to them on the
we
phone.
will not.
we don't
we
have
will
an
not see a
office.
total solar eclipse. You will see a crescent.
My poor sheep are all going to start heading towards the barn.
Here's the cool thing, though. If you look under a tree, if the leaves have grown in, you'll see little crescents everywhere.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, because the focal point between the leaves will make little. They look like little crescent moons,
Oh.
Yeah, that's fun.
I saw something about a teacher saying she's going to put a disco ball out and have it reflect onto like poster boards so kids can like see the little crescent shape or whatever it is. I love science. It's great.
The cool thing is that when it gets dark, all the bugs come out because they think it's nighttime, and the
And they
animals
get
start
fried.
freaking out.
Yeah.
So your
Yeah.
lambs are going to be confused.
Well, when it gets to be dark, they all start walking towards the barn because they like to sleep in the barn because they're all giving birth, and they just they don't like wind very much. And
Who does? I don't want to sleep in the wind either.
So-
They've got a lot of hair. They don't want to mess up. Yeah.
So they will, and then as soon as the light comes back a minute later, they'll be like, "Oh, that was a mistake," and
They're
they'll
like,
turn
I
around.
didn't sleep.
I know I'm gonna miss it.
But it's 2 hours.
It takes 2 hours.
Yes.
Oh, I thought it was like
At 2:03
Fast.
is when the moon will start covering the sun.
Okay.
And so you will get different degrees of darkness over a 2-hour period.
oh, that's a long
At-
time.
Yeah, so at 3:20 or whatever is when you'll get total darkness, and then it'll be very,
bit
very
later.
dark.
I should just
and
start
then it'll
drinking.
slowly getting brighter
I
again.
may just have a party.
You
on my
have 3
farm.
minutes of total darkness, but you have an hour until it hits that point. So it's going to be slowly dimming over an hour until it's totally dark.
So in 3 minutes of total darkness, if you're in the city, are you allowed to loot and steal things in those
If
3
it's
minutes?
in a
or-
Democrat city,
a
you're
Democrat
always
city,
allowed
okay.
to, whether eclipse or not.
But you can do it really fast during the
3
eclipse.
minutes of
You get
hell.
Superpowers.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're firing rockets at it. CERN's firing up the Large Hadron Collider.
That's
They
right. CERN is crazy.
Well, I love they're called APEP rockets. APEP, the god of Egypt, who is a serpent that chases the sun. So, I think that's just silly.
That is silly.
But they did it
It's
on
fun.
purpose.
Well, we love a good historical reference. That's
Yeah, why
great.
not?
Creativity, it abounds.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.